working?
No.
Website is.
Introduce ourselves. My name is James Stack. I'm the chairman of this committee. To my left is,
Jay World, District 1.
and I said left, but you're my right. To his right is
Terry Dolan, 8.
Andrew Kirkpatrick, District 5.
Todd Perky.
Mike Spranger.
okay.
Layla Tracy.
All right, in the back, please.
Laura Nelson, Visit Wisconsin Rapids.
Okay, next to you.
Melissa Reagan, her Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Amber from Wisconsin Rapids.
John Fonta, Wisconsin Rapids Raptors.
Shane Blazer.
And,
Like said.
all right. Well, thank you all, and welcome to the meeting. The first item is first item is taken care of. Second item is an application for a Class B liquor and beer license filed by Layla's Incorporated. Layla Tracy, agent, doing business as Layla's Pub and Grill, located at 2962 State Highway 73. So our clerk, everything in order?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? And you are taking over Goose's.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
When do you expect to be up and running fully?
April 30th, I'll be taking over the bar fully, and then I'll be doing food, hopefully within 6 months after that.
All right. Any questions from others present?
I'll make a motion to approve the application request as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the request. Is there any other discussion, questions of anyone? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You have the city's blessing at this point, so
Thank
wish
you.
you all the best
Thank
going
you.
forward. Certainly an endeavor to take on something like that, starting businesses. All the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome. Okay, then that's all. This will be taken up at the council meeting on the 21st of this month. And should be no additional, unless there's questions from other aldermen.
Okay,
All right?
okay.
So, okay, thank you, Lila, for
Thank you,
coming by.
everybody.
Thank you. Second item, by the way, welcome to the folks at home. I keep forgetting to do that, and I never will remember it. Item 3 is a request from Krista Kuhn, the Heart of Wisconsin Business Alliance, for approval of a special events application for Lunch by the River, beginning June 11th and held each Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. through August 27th, to include A, vending, and B, closure of parking stalls on the west side of 2nd Street North during Lunch by the River. And who's here for that?
I am.
Okay. All right, and you want to come up to the table? Now, this is, how many years now is this? What is this for you?
Boy, this was probably about 16.
16 years, okay.
years.
And you're all set with your vendors and so on for this coming season?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions of the committee at this time? It'll be, as you have in the past, continuing.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. Any questions from the committee or members of the council present?
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the request as presented in previous years.
Second.
Motion and second made to approve the request from the Heart of Wisconsin Business Alliance. Any questions from anyone, comments from anyone? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passes. You're set to go again for this summer season. We hope we have a good one for you, and that the cold that we have now kind of finds its way out of here by June.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you for coming in this evening.
Well,
Item,
Laura.
you want to join us too?
Let the folks at home see it.
all right.
Item 4, again, a request from Krista Kuhn, Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, and Laura Nelson, Visitors and Convention Bureau, for approval of a special events application for Cranberry Blossom Fest, June 18th to 21st, to include A, Street closures of Grand Avenue between Second Street and Third Avenue, not including the intersection, on June 18th from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. for Cinema Under the Stars. Item B, suspension of the open container ordinance on June 20th from 5 p.m. to midnight on Grand Avenue between Second Avenue and Third Avenue, not including the intersection. Item C, street closures on June 21st for the Cranberry Blossom Fest Parade from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Street closures are A1, 11th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin Streets. Item 2, 12th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin Streets. 3, 13th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin Streets. 4, 14th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin Streets. 5, 15th Street between Chestnut and Wisconsin Streets. 6, Grand Avenue between 16th Street South and West Jackson Street. And item D, at Carnival, June 19th, 20, and 21st at Ware Field, provided by A&P Enterprise Shows. All right, who would like to talk to this?
I can speak on it. There's
Okay.
nothing really new since, from the years past, school parade, carnival, and the events that we've carried on for several
Okay.
years. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, and for you, this is how many years now with this
Oh,
activity?
gosh, I think this is the 8th year total for the festival as it is.
Okay,
And for me personally, this will be my 5th.
okay, all right. Any questions from the committee? From the other council members or those present?
Now, I'll make a motion to approve the request to the Heart of,
Sorry, Jeff.
to the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber and the Visitors Convention Bureau for special events for the Cranberry Blossom Festival, June 18th through the 21st, as presented.
All right. Any, motion second, okay. Any other questions or comments on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. You're all set to go again. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll keep the clouds away for you as well.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you so much.
You're
Take
welcome.
care.
Have a good evening. Okay. Item 5, a request from John Corrigal of Renaissance Learning for approval of a special events application for the June 13th Renaissance Learning Race Against Cancer from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. to include A, street closure from 6:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Peach Street between Highway 54 and 32nd Street. B, street closure from 8:15 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Oak Street from Peach Street to 24th Street. 24th Street from Oak Street to Apple Street and 23rd Street. 3, 23rd Street from 24th Street to Apple Street to Lake Street. 4, Lake Street from 22nd Street to 32nd Street. A request that Chestnut Street and 23rd Street be controlled by officers. D, vending.
I received an email from John today. He had a family emergency.
All
he had to
right.
pay for, but there are no changes to the raise
Okay,
from the previous year.
and for them, this is their, what year, third or fourth? Somewhere in that area, I think, that they started, okay. Any comments from anyone else present?
And the police officers have controlled it in the past then?
Correct.
Or auxiliary or regular officers?
I do not know.
Anything else, any other questions? Is there a motion for this to approve?
Make a motion to approve the request as presented, Renaissance Learning for their race against cancer.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item 6 is a request from Amber Crone of Aqua Skiers Incorporated for approval of a special events application for the July 4th street dance from 8 a.m. on July 4th to 12 a.m. on July 5th to include A, a special beer license application, street closures. 1, First Street North between Jackson Street and Oak Street. 2, Second Street between Oak Street and East Grand Avenue. C, suspension of the open container ordinance on the closed portion of the street. And D, vending. Someone here to speak for that? Yes. Why don't you come on up?
This is my second year, but I Pretty sure it's been going on for over 20 years
Okay,
with the same locations.
all right. And you've been in to see the staff and get things in line and?
Yep.
Okay,
We're good with everything, I'm hoping.
okay,
Did speak to Amber's husband Mike the other day,
okay.
and he was asking about a cord, some power hookup.
Electrical.
Electrical hookup, and I did speak to Matt Heideman. Whatever process they used last year worked well with them, and so they're gonna take care of it, make sure that's set up for you ahead of time.
Okay,
4th of July is on a Saturday this year, so I'm hoping not to call too many people
The
in.
plan is to have it on Friday,
Got
it's all set up, ready to go, and then you do what you need to do on Saturday.
okay. Any other questions from anyone present, Alderman? Okay, is there a motion? Go ahead, do you have a
Yes.
question?
Nope, I was just gonna make a motion to approve the request for the aqua skiers for the 4th of July street dance.
All right, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, motion been made and second to approve the requests of the aqua skiers. Is there anything else? Any other comments from anyone? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank
very
you for
much.
coming by this evening. Yes.
Yes.
All set, Mr. Dolan?
I missed.
Okay.
Said aye.
Okay. Item 7 is a request from Lorna Bolinski of Assumption Catholic Schools for approval of a special events application for May 15th from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. for a music concert, May 16th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a run walk, and May 17th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for the royal event to include a special beer license application. The premises cover the tent, the grounds between the tent and the school's gymnasium. B, a fun walk route. C, street closures of Chestnut Street between Cliff Street and Hill Street on May 16th. And E, vending. Is there anyone from the school?
I also received an email from Lorna today. They were off at school all last week and today, and so she returned, yesterday, and she returned today, and she stated that the event is similar, same as last year, and that she requested to be excused because they're planning some big musical
Okay.
dinner thing going on this week. So,
All right, and again, this is a long time event. That's been held
the
there.
royal event's been for.
Right,
All right, I'll make a request to approve,
make a motion.
make a motion to approve the request for Assumption Catholic Schools for their special events.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion is made and second to approve the Assumption Catholic Schools event application. Is there any other questions from anyone present? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay. Item 8 is a request from John Fanta, General Manager of the Wisconsin Rapids Rafters LLC, for approval of a special events application for August 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for Race Across the Wisconsin. John, if you'd like to step up, please.
I don't know if you've seen this yet, but just
I have not.
What we're kind of looking to do is start on the City Hall side of the river, near the Tribune Building, and have teams of 2 raft across the river, and then they'd run the rest of the way up to the ballpark. It's sort of a fun run, raft and run, just to kind of promote active lifestyles. And everybody that finishes the race will receive a bobblehead of our mascot in a raft. So
All right,
kind of a fun little race. We've had teams of 2 sign up that would include the raft and a t-shirt for the event as well.
okay, all right. And let's see. And so people will gather there by the old Tribune Building and then have a start, head off. and
Correct.
Race across.
Yep, I've spoken with Kurt Hoyer as well as the special response team in town, and they're gonna set up
Okay.
people in the water, I guess.
Right.
It's pretty shallow there, but just as a safety measure there, and we'd have life jackets available for all participants and everybody
Okay.
to go there, so.
Now then, as the racers move up Birch, that'll be Birch Street, is that?
Yep.
Okay. And on to Lincoln, there'll be someone there to,
Yep.
as a like a crossing guard, I'm gonna say.
Correct,
So-
there'd be somebody controlling, I think the area we looked at was 3rd Street as being the busier area on the way up to the ballpark, and then as well as the crossing of Lincoln Street as well.
Okay, all right. Again, this would be a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday from about between 10 and noon would be the
Okay.
only event. I would imagine it would start at 10 o'clock and everybody would be past that checkpoint within the half hour. So.
Sure, okay, all right. Any comments from the other alderman present or anyone else? Since this is the first time, yes,
I guess I would be a little concerned as far as the flow of the river. I mean, is there any way to know how many dams will be opened or how many gates will be opened on the dams? I mean, I would think that would affect the safety somewhat, the flow of the river, the speed of the river.
Sure. Just from seeing folks out in that area in the past, I don't think, there's people that float out in like rafts and flotation devices that I've seen out there that doesn't really go that quickly with the current, I guess. So it'd be something that if there was a flooding problem, I guess that would be an issue. But other than that, the river is about 2 or 3 feet out in the entire vicinity. So
Okay.
it'll be the low flow time of the year too typically unless there was a summer storm. Because we're in August here.
So this is up next to the Grand Avenue Bridge? Is that correct?
it'd be south of the West Grand Bridge. Yep.
Kind of coming ashore where the
You're gonna
boats
come
used to
up,
be.
you're gonna come up.
Correct. Right on the
Kayak.
right side of Pearl Engineering.
Kayak landing.
Yep.
Got a vested interest there because we put that in.
But you're saying the depth of the river is only 2 or 3 feet, or just the shore?
The depth across.
It's super shallow.
It's shallow.
I literally, I remember
That's
when I
why
was
we
a kid,
put
I
our
watched my
kayak thing right there when we had our leadership group. It's shallow across there.
I watched my uncle wade across it, never got past his waist over there.
They'll stop the emergencies.
Now that's why you don't want to jump right there.
And Jim Borski could probably get you, if you had any questions on it, flow data, stuff like that too. I know he's provided that in the past.
When Shane gets consolidated water and power's flow information, only probably when it's high,
Yeah,
I would say.
But I could probably, we can,
Request that.
yeah, we can coordinate and I can send an email over there and get the flow through the.
Yeah, there is a website.
Open them all, make it interesting.
So,
Open them all.
Somebody asked about
Colorado
Colorado
Rapids.
Rapids recently.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the request?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the request to the Wisconsin Rapids Raptors for special events application as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve your request, John. Anything else that anyone has a question about on this item? All right then, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're
Thank
opposed,
you.
and your motion is approved.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, yes, John. Have a good evening now.
You too.
Thank you. There he is.
All right.
He's gonna condense all that he wrote us into a 25 page with 25 point.
Condense it down for me.
I mean, I think another CPA might explain, you know, but, am I to assume that this is not something that we already have done?
Well, basically, we're just formalizing what we do in practice
Okay,
at this point, something like that. So it's, it's just a good idea to just adopt a
just a
formal.
minute, excuse me. This is a review and consider adoption of the city's fund balance policy. See attachments 1 and 2, and Tim is gonna explain.
Right, it's just, like I just started to say, it's just putting in policy what we do in practice over the past number of years. And basically what this policy lays out is that for our reserves, and what basically our reserves represent, especially in our general fund, is just our net assets minus liabilities. So that's the reserve that the city has on hand. And the city wants to maintain a certain level of reserves to deal with unanticipated expenditures or revenue shortfalls, especially, with, things that can change drastically at the state level as far as state aids. We're dependent on a lot of our revenue sources to balance our budget on state aids. Also, it provides us cash flow. A lot of our state aid payments we don't receive till later in the year. In fact, the majority of our shared revenues, which is, represents about $4 million, we don't receive till November 15th of that budget year. So obviously you need the reserves to cover that cash flow until you get that payment at the end of the year, because obviously your expenditures are pretty much evenly incurred over the budget year. And also it provides a base for our investments of which we generate income. Now, not lately with where interest rates are, but in years past when rates have been a lot better, we used to generate over $400,000 in interest earnings that were used in our budget. So it provides a base for that. Basically what this policy does, just other than some of the definitions that the Governmental Accounting Standard Board makes us financially report on, but the key points of the policy is that the city's goal is to maintain a unassigned general fund balance and reserves in our general fund of 25 to 30%. Right now, currently, we're at 34%, so we're above our target goal. And the policy also lays out that anything, our reserves above 30% that are kind of line item or designated to be used for capital improvements or one-time expenditures. And we also apply a certain amount of fund balance in our budget. This past year, we applied about $200,000 of our reserves to balance the budget. We've been doing that annually. So some of those reserves we use to offset the tax levy. The other part is, replenishment of the reserves. If for any reason we would fall below that 25% threshold, the policy dictates that I have to be prepared to submit a plan in conjunction with the next fiscal budget, a plan to reestablish and get those reserves above the 25%. Also in the policy, it says that if the council elected to approve an item that would take our reserves below the 25% threshold, that would require 3/4 vote of the members, all members of the governing body. And obviously the policy on committing funds, we've been doing that. Our annual carryover resolution is basically what we do is we take those reserves, those carryover funds, and we appropriate them and commit them through that annual transfer resolution. And the only other thing here is the signing of funds. That duty is delegated to me as finance director, that I can assign fund balance to different items, but that doesn't commit them in any way to appropriation. It's just my method of kind of just planning out our reserves and what potential uses might be down the road.
Now, is this a new standard that was introduced at this GASB 54?
Back in 2011, we had a resolution that we adopted in 2000, resolution number 32, where for all our special revenue funds that we passed a resolution designating for a specific purpose, and that's what you put them in the special revenue fund. Examples of that would be the community access at that point, where we were taking the franchise fees and we were basically committing them to be used for that purpose. That's all.
Is there anything, I
was quite content just listening.
Is there anything that sticks out as would be limited in some way to carrying out any function of the city?
As far as
setting money aside, the money set aside should allow us to carry out all functions, and there's no hindrance to that in any way.
Right, I mean, yeah, your reserves, basically your reserves are just basically built over time from operating surpluses or for whatever, or that we put, we have a lot of depreciation funds where we put money aside for future expenditure, so those end up in your reserves and you commit those towards that appropriate it for that purpose down the road.
Okay.
But I mean, the key thing about when you utilize your reserves, and it's mentioned in the policy that it should be used for, anytime you use reserves for an expenditure, it should be for a one-time purpose, because obviously it's a finite pool of funds, so that if it's a recurring expenditure, if you fund it with reserves, then those reserves might not be there funded in the future. So the policy dictates that we'd like to use them for one time, but if they are going to be used for a reoccurring, that when you approve using reserves for reoccurring expenditure, that there be a plan of how you're going to fund that in the future, other than the reserves that are initially applied.
Can I throw a question in right there?
Sure, go ahead.
And this isn't, I mean, this is kind of here, but are you gonna be at the Public Works meeting tonight as well? Okay. If you don't mind my throwing a question in on that, because
Go ahead.
there's the, tonight at Public Works, we're looking at the annual report of the stormwater utility. And this is something that I had asked in the past, and I don't know if I came across clear enough on it, but our total revenue from stormwater utility was $658,000 and change. Total expenditure was $809. We were funding that difference out of this, correct?
Out of the stormwater utility is a special revenue fund. So past surpluses that we had when the fee was more than what the expenditures were remained in that fund. And so this year, and I think one of the instances where we had that boring that project where it was more than what we anticipated in the budget year, we were able to utilize reserves. If you remember the year-end transfer resolution, we utilized those reserves to cover that unanticipated expenditure. And that's kind of why you have reserves.
Right. Well, and I know that was running,
Right.
you know, kind of in the red for quite a while, for some years, and I just wondered if that was gonna fall under this protection where it needs to find, you know, some type of a equalizing.
Right, yeah, the stormwater utility falls under resolution number 32 that we adopted, that basically all the reserves created in that fund are designated for stormwater activities.
All right. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay. Entertain a motion then to get back to that. To approve adoption of the city's fund balance policy. Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve adopting the city's fund balance policy.
Second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the policy. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10 is authorization to proceed with issuing $995,000 of general obligation promissory notes as outlined in the 2015 budget.
Okay, obviously when we adopted the budget in the Public Works Construction Fund, we earmarked in that budget $1 million general obligation or debt issue to fund certain projects, those projects being, the two being Chestnut Street and Apple Street street construction and storm sewer construction. And now we're just following through with obtaining that financing for those projects that was outlined in the 2015 budget. We are going to be, I looked at a couple different options, the one being issuing general obligation promissory notes, tax exempt financing, or state trust fund loan. And when analyzing those, the state trust fund loan, we plan to borrow for the projects actually $950,000. State trust fund loan comes at an interest rate of 3.25%, but no issuance fees. Whereas issuing general obligation tax exempt financing, the $950,000, but then there's also roughly about $45,000 in debt issuance fees. However, the interest rate on that, the tax exempt financing, right now looks at that would be about 1.99%. And so when I projected out the numbers, as obviously, even though it's the $45,000 of cost of issuance is more than obviously state trust fund loan, the lower interest rate, you come out ahead by going the GO route, and so that's what I'm recommending. And we'll be using Ellers, our financial advisors, to do that issuance, and they'll basically be doing a competitive bid process, of which we'll look for sale of the notes at the May council.
Can that interest rate be adjusted up in the future without our,
Which one?
you said the way you're going now has a 1.19 or 1.99%?
Mhm.
Can the lending agency, can they automatically adjust
No,
that
it's-
up as market?
No, basically what they're doing is when you do a competitive bid, what happens is 1.99 is your blended interest rates, because usually your bonds that are mature in the first couple of years come at a very low interest rate, and your bonds that mature like in 8, 9, and 10 come at a higher interest rate. So that would be above the 2, but the bonds in the first half of the issuance are a lot lower, so it comes out to a net of about 1.99. But basically, that once they sell those, it's locked in.
And the bonds are issued in certain, what do they call it, debentures?
Right.
And so people will come to buy those and they'll buy them for a 3-year period, 5-year for the length of the loan.
Yeah, basically what it is the generators kind of come in, they're the ones that competitively bid on the bonds, they buy the bonds, and then they basically sell them to the individual investors.
Right, okay. So when everything is said and done, the total expense of this would be $995,000.
Correct.
Including all interest and service charges and so on.
Well, the 909 would be the actual principal of the bonds, and then the interest would be in addition to that. Basically, what I would just be doing is.
Do you anticipate getting the Elbert grant? Local roads and.
Right, yeah, those are approved for those 2 projects, yeah, we got approval for those.
That is?
Yep.
Okay. The contract payments and so on, those are things that are already booked in and they're contracted.
Well, we've got 2 contracts that were, so the contracts for the local road improvement program, we haven't gone out for bids yet for those, but we hope in next month's meeting, Public Works meeting, to have those bids in.
Okay, the balance of the bids, the expenses shown here are in contract.
He's basically just looking at the budget numbers, we have kind of, and that's basically our paving costs,
Yeah.
our contracted paving costs.
Yeah, it should be.
All right, we do that on an annual basis, and bid that out, so.
Okay. Other questions? Comments? Is there a motion then to approve the issuing of $995,000 of general obligation promissory notes?
I'll make a motion to approve the authorization to proceed with the issuing of the $995,000 general obligation promissory notes as outlined in the 2015 budget.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the issuance. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Motion passes. Item 11 is a renewal applications for 6-month Class B beer licenses filed by Wisconsin Rapids Men's Softball Association, John Uttermark, agent doing business as Wisconsin Rapids Men's Softball for the premises located at Meade Field. Wisconsin Rapids Women's Softball Association, Jamie McDonald, agent doing business as Wisconsin Rapids Women's Softball for the premises located at Meade Field. Anyone to speak on that?
Those are, they would be their 6-month beer license that they get at both those locations.
Right.
They do this every year.
Okay. Comments or questions? A motion to approve. Item A is the Wisconsin Rapids Men's Softball Association premise. Wisconsin Rapids Men's Softball for the premise located at Meade Field. Is there a motion? A second?
Motion to approve both groups, A and B, as presented.
Are separate votes needed?
We should probably do separate.
Motion to approve Men's Softball Association.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the Wisconsin Rapids Women's Softball Association, Wisconsin Rapids Women's Softball for the premises located at Meade Field?
Sure. Motion to approve the Women's Softball Association.
Motion and second? Is there a second? Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 11A and 11B, for 11B passes. All right, item 12 is consider a wage adjustment for the GIS specialist position as recommended by the Human Resources Committee. And we have
Sure.
Beth and Chad.
This is just what I provided to the HR committee with the
And, yes,
job description, revised job description. For the GIS specialist, Chris Canty has been operating in that capacity for the last year. March was his anniversary date. When we originally, this is a new position for the city, if you recall. Last year we created that, not knowing how it might evolve. And Chris has been operating probably more as a developer program analyst. So we had him complete the employee position questionnaire, forwarded it to our third-party evaluator, and it came back at a grade 12. It's currently a grade 8. When we initially had the job evaluated, it came back at a 10, but we had approval to fill it at a grade 8 level. So there's a copy of the revised job description there in front of you. Chris has been doing an excellent job. We're very satisfied with what he's been doing. And I don't know, the mayor might want to speak to it, or Joe, in terms of the work that he's been performing.
I would just add that initially, there's certainly a need for an employee to fill in the GIS role. However, how that actually implemented and evolved throughout the last year has certainly changed, especially with what Chris has been able to do for the city. And he's certainly brought a lot to the GIS that we wouldn't otherwise have had. So.
Chad, anything to add on this? Okay. And then what pay would he receive then, at 57?
57, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
I would maybe make a comment. I made the similar comment at HR, but when we created the position, we had it evaluated. We went on a lower end of the scale just because we weren't quite sure what candidates we would be able to solicit for the position. And at that point, a lot of what Chris has done, we could have farmed out externally, whether it was some of the foundational elements of the GIS system or some of the web creation elements he's been able to work on. So, in terms of a direct ROI, if you will, on the position, I think Chris has certainly helped us save a few bucks. Not directly sort of commenting on his pay rate, but definitely overall in his performance as it relates to what he's been able to accomplish in-house. So there's tremendous value that we didn't quite understand or know we were going to get when we hired Chris. So I think that's been a major positive. Obviously, he works directly with Joe, but has come up to my office maybe every other week on different projects, and has been very responsive and really with it. So,
All right.
comments.
Anyone else? Okay. Would there be a motion then to grant the wage adjustment for the GIS specialist position as recommended by the Human Resources Committee?
A motion. Oops, sorry.
First name, the person again is?
Chris Canty.
Canty. Okay, thank you. All right.
And there it is. I motion for the wage adjustment for the GIS specialist position as recommended by the Human Resources Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made and seconded to approve the wage adjustment as recommended by the Human Resources Committee. Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 13, beverage operator license applications. We had a chance to review them. Had no concerns or questions. Does Mr. Blazer, do you have any other comments? Okay, and there was none denied.
Correct.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the beverage operator license application?
Motion approved.
Motion made to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the beverage operator licenses applications. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item 14 is audit of the bills. Okay, anything unique or outstanding in this group of bills? Okay. Wisconsin Community, on the page one, MEDI, is that media, for example? Is that Wisconsin Community Media? Or-
Yeah, that's the public access.
Okay, all right,
It looks like it's used for their, like, they must have an annual banquet or
okay,
conference registration and banquet.
okay.
Reindeers Inc. Reindeers Inc.
Renders.
Renders. Extra E.
Page there.
11?
It is renders.
Yeah, that's their fleet maintenance. So I'm saying it's parts.
Oh, okay.
Silvercrest dinner on page one, fifth one down.
Silvercrest. Look at here.
You weren't like it?
That's the Lowell Center programming.
Okay,
I'm guessing it's one of their field trips or activities.
all right.
There's a certified laboratories and then a Davy Laboratories.
We do wastewater
Wastewater.
testing.
The bike commuter subsidy, what is that?
It's a federal program
Okay,
that people can participate in. If they ride their bike to work, they get
Uh-huh.
a federal subsidy.
okay.
So it's kind of part of our wellness program.
So it passed through? We receive funds and it passes?
So I think it's just funded out of our wellness.
Oh, okay.
You know, that
All right,
it basically goes to them that they can use it for stuff, bike parts or whatever. So
Okay.
it's part of our wellness program. We participate in the program.
Demco. Page 20.
Page 20. What is it?
Demco.
Demco, library. 2101, that's office supplies, so I can look it up for you.
Yeah.
5907.
1000bulbs.com.
They're like, they must be like, they're a full 10-inch height, 21-inch jackets, so it's got like folders or binders or something over
Oh, okay.
the library.
You actually had to look one up.
Huh?
I said you actually had to look one up.
Didn't know that one.
Any questions on the motion then to approve the audit of the bills at this time?
Motion that we approve the audit of the bills.
Second? Motion made, second, to approve the audit of the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 15. In item A, in open session, the committee will vote to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E, of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In closed session, the committee will discuss with city staff the strategy and negotiation parameters to be used in the acquisition of certain property for development. And C, the committee may take action or make recommendations on item B in closed session. It may adjourn in closed session or may return to open session and continue to discuss item B and may take action or make recommendations on item B. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so we are in closed session at this time.